Hey, what's up? This is Jason Hook from Flat Black, and this is We Go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Hey, thanks for your time. I was trying to figure out if this is Flat Black, but I guess it's just black on black, I guess, t-shirt.
Oh, you're sure?
Yeah,
Let's
right.
say it is Flat Black. That's cooler.
How'd you come up with the name? Because Flat Black is cooler. I always tend to use that matte paint
Right.
whenever I do any modifications on my Jeep and stuff. So, I mean, how'd you come up with that concept? Because it is, it's a pretty cool color. I remember
It's the best.
that's kind of like the trend. Everybody seems to use that color when they do any after factory stuff on their vehicles, at least.
Oh my God, I've said the same thing like 100 times.
Ah,
Like
we think alike.
it's well, first of all, black is sort of the color of our community,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Metal, Black Sabbath,
Correct.
it's the dark, masculine,
Hmm.
heavy music color, right?
Right.
But then I thought when people take it to like the next level of just sick, it's like flat black or matte
Mhm.
black, like you just
Right.
said, like I murdered out my car, man. And
Right.
I wrapped my Rolls Royce in flat black, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And so that's very much where it kind of started. But the truth is, I was driving down Las Vegas Boulevard one day and I passed the private airport at McCarran,
Mm.
and there was a private jet parked near the fence. And I just couldn't take my eyes off it because it was flat black from head to toe,
Oh,
the
geez.
windows, the engine, everything.
Any
And it
idea
just
who was the owner of that thing?
I don't know, but that's a statement plane.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's
Yeah.
a statement plane. I mean, that like every other jet that was there was just looked generic and white
Sure.
and glossy. This was like I'm making a statement. I
Mhm.
loved it. It looked so badass. And I was driving home. I've always been a deep purple fan, and that's
Oh, yeah.
essentially just a color, right? So
Yeah. Right.
I thought, what if we just name it after a color, but flat black? I mean, I go, there's no way that's available. Right.
And
I
it
actually
was?
went to Instagram,
Oh,
available.
you did? Oh, there
Yeah.
you go. That made life a little easier, huh?
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
it actually worked out really well because I had a litany of terrible names.
Hmm.
I had a list.
What's one of them?
Oh, geez. Well, teeth has tools was one of them.
Teeth has tools.
Teeth has tools. Yeah.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
you're like, your mom always told you,
Sure.
don't use your teeth as
Yeah,
tools.
right.
People trying to,
Yeah, right. Bust a tooth.
um,
But no, flat black. I mean, that perfect for the sound. And you're right. I mean, like you said, I mean, who doesn't,
people get it.
Yeah. What band doesn't put out a black t-shirt?
Right.
You know
And
what I mean?
I think it checks a lot of boxes as far as it's
Mhm.
easy to spell. It doesn't require an explanation. It's easy to pronounce. It's easy to remember. It flows off the tongue fairly easily,
Hmm.
So it checked a lot of boxes.
So you guys have the album coming out on the 19th, and it's going to be digital first, right? And then
Yeah.
the physical product. The concept behind that or thinking behind that.
It's the record company.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, my record company, the new record company, Fearless, who is a fantastic group of
Mhm.
people, and I trust them implicitly. So when they're like, this is how we do things these days, everything's
Right.
different. You're a brand new band, so there's this different set of rules for launching an unknown band. We usually like to get the digital up, and as soon as there's some excitement or some activity surrounding the digital, then we start to push the physical so that there's already more interest, an increased interest in the record
Mhm.
before we put product on the street. And I said, well, okay, why don't we try, instead of just having a physical, like a vinyl and a CD that's exactly the same as the digital, what's the incentive for people to go buy it,
Mhm.
really? So I said, let's put some bonus material on the physical so that at least if people really like the record, they might want to go get the physical for the extra material. And so what we do is there's like side 4 live album from Edmonton.
Okay.
Like
Wow.
nobody does that, dude. Like
No.
here's the first record of the live album.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
I like that. I like that. I was like, let's break some rules. Let's take some chances, you know?
Well, and you guys have done, I mean, again, the title of the record is Dark Side of the Brain, right? I mean, it's like that's pretty descriptive as well, you know. And um, so you know, you've done how many like is it 5 tunes you've put out? I think the most
Yeah.
recent one is Sideways, which I want to talk to you about that one
Yeah.
specifically because that's the one that really uh uh you know, caught my attention. I think as far as Sideways, it kind of slots in like right there with any kind of groove metal band, and I could totally see you guys doing some touring with like Seven Dust, right? I mean, it just
Mm.
you guys slot in into that kind of sound where it's melodic, it's heavy. There's a little bit of soul to it, right? And as far as with the vocals, so tell me about, like you said, you're doing things a little different. You've released several tunes. The most recent one here is Sideways, right? I
Mhm.
believe,
Yeah.
and that one really, I mean, again, slots in right with Seven Dust and any of that groove metal stuff.
Well, about Sideways, one of my favorite tracks, one of the early tracks that was created in the whole process of the record. Um, that one also started from a jam. That riff is kind of it's a little finger twisty,
Mhm.
but again, it's not something I would have sat down and created just by thinking, staring at the fretboard. I was just noodling around in the context of recording a jam, and that was just one of those sections that I thought, ooh, that could make a good riff, you know?
Mhm.
I think the chorus kind of explodes. It's melodic. It kind of jumps off the page.
Right.
I think the breakdown is spooky and cool. The
Mhm.
guitar solo is really fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say other than
What about it? It's your lack of respect because again, I think that's a real extreme tune. Again, kind of with that groove, and there's just a lot of explosive stuff happening on that one.
the that was the very first thing I worked on.
Is it okay?
Yeah, very first thing I worked on. So I'm sitting here by myself, no idea what's going to happen, and I
Mhm.
do what I've always done. And this is my house, right? So
Okay.
I had a studio built in my house. It was one of the only things I really treated myself to or splurged on.
Uh-huh.
It was to have a pro setup so that I could work at my leisure out of my
Mhm.
house. And um, that was one of the very first things. I took like a month off and
Right.
relaxed after leaving the prior situation, and then
Right.
I was rolling my sleeves up, time to get back to work. So I just remember going, tick, 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 tick,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
tick, tick, tick,
Yeah.
tick, tick, tick,
Yeah.
let's
No
start
kidding.
let's start with something
Right.
hyper.
Right.
I'm a little bit hyper by nature anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. Is
so
that?
I know that.
Are you a multi-instrumentalist or is it or were you playing around with like beats on a drum machine or what?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
play a little bit of everything. I mean, make no mistake, guitar is my strongest instrument, but
Right.
I'm just I have enough skill set on everything else to hack my way through an idea. Um, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just enough to demo, right?
that's right. That's
Okay.
right. But when it comes to drums, though, I none of the stuff is programmed. It's all live drums, and
Mm,
our drummer, this amazing musician Rob Pierce. I've got a electronic drum kit over here. You can't
mhm.
see it, but whenever I need like a human input, he comes and
Right.
plays on the kit, and then it's captured in the computer, and then when we go to make the record, I get him to record the drums live at a proper
Mhm.
studio.
Nice. And well, I mean, how did you build this band? Like how did you audition the guys? Did you know them already? How do you go from, like you said, got out of a previous situation after a bit, took some time off, started kind of, working on some ideas. Were the guys involved, or did you have an idea of who you wanted involved in the band, or did this just kind of like you started just fitting in the pieces to the puzzle?
The latter.
Uh-huh.
I mean, in
Yeah.
every band, somebody starts it.
Hmm.
Somebody's always there first.
Yeah.
And um, fortunately for me, I had a bit of a track record. So when I was reaching out to strangers, they would
Right.
respond immediately with enthusiasm. And that just comes as a result of me having some kind of track record of history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which made it a lot easier for me because people were enthusiastic. Yes, I'd like to be
Sure.
involved, you know. But it also allowed me to sort of be picky. I went, you know, it was very important for me to meet people in person. So I was flying around playing with drummers and meeting
Mm.
people face to face, get in a room, bring my amp, bring my guitar, jam, you
Right.
know.
Right.
I thought that that's the only really everyone can say whatever they want to say, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
can fabricate stuff on Instagram and all that shit. But I know from doing this over and over again, building bands, that you have to sort of get in a room and play with people to see if it clicks.
Right. Right.
And that's what I did with each guy.
Yeah. And for yourself, I mean, like you said, you've had history of working with other bands, other musicians, done work with like Vince and, pop in the pop world and stuff like that. Um, any thoughts initially to maybe join an already established band? I mean, you would think that would be the easier road versus building it from the ground up.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because that was it was never really an option, although there were some offers that came in.
Mhm.
But I thought this is your one opportunity to go from the public's perception of you is that you're a creator and that you're an
Mhm.
original and that you're a writer.
Right.
And so I thought here's your one opportunity to re-enter the atmosphere and create what it is
Mhm.
that you really want. And what I really want to be is an artist.
Right.
And I think that it's a scarier road. There's no
Mhm.
guarantee of anything, but I was okay with that. I had good
Right.
confidence coming off of the prior situation. And I thought, even if it doesn't work out, I don't need to do flat black for any money or anything like that. That's taken care of.
Right.
So why not take a shot and
Right.
build something? That's really fun. And what a sense of pride too, if it works,
Sure. Sure.
and for me to go out as um, a hired musician, I think that would be very confusing to whatever fan base I have left over.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Why is he doing that?
Yeah. Right. Right.
You know,
But it would be the easy road too, right?
it would
In
be
a
an
way.
easy road. And you know what? If that's always an option, if
Yeah.
if
Sure.
something that I wanted to do, that could be done at any point for whenever.
Mhm.
But this had to happen first. I
Right.
had to spin this dial first.
Right. Right.
I know, and it worked,
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about how like you said, you're working on tunes, you're getting the gears going again. In the process of recording these tunes, how much attention do you pay to how you're going to replicate your insane guitar work in the live setting? Or does that even matter? Because
it
I know you're
matters.
talking about the artist part, you just want to go for
Yeah,
it.
it definitely matters. And it's interesting that you mentioned this because a lot of the lead work on the
Mhm.
record, I do in a guitar that is tuned to D standard. And a lot of the songs are in B standard. So there's a conflict
Mm.
there and the reason why I use D standard guitars is because you can get much higher
Mm.
note choices on the neck because it's tuned up.
Right.
So I can play melodies that are outside of where a B guitar would be cut off at a certain note selection on the high strings. And so there's always that dilemma where I go to play it live. I'm like, well, can I replicate the solo with less frets and less high notes?
Right.
Sometimes I have to make sort of a hybrid solo that fits on the B guitar, and I don't like that at all. And that's where you start to get into like I could use a 7-string that covers all that territory, but 7
Right.
strings are gross. And I don't know. I think moving forward, I want to try to move away from anything that's low tuning
Okay.
because it does present that problem live. And I don't enjoy playing solos on gauges 13 to 70. It's like
Hmm.
bass strings, it's not cool.
So for yourself, I mean, I'm sure you're a fan of like Satriani and Vi and all the guys that are basically more instrumental based. Is that something that would interest you down the way in the future? Do you have that in you? And if so, would that be something you'd want to tour behind?
That's an amazing question, actually. I think that Flat Black, there was a point in time where I had made all this music and was thinking like, what do I do with this? Because we're all anxious to get going, but
Right.
there's a real being patient
Mhm.
takes a strong personality.
Right.
And and so there was a point in time where I was thinking maybe I just make it instrumental music. But here's the thing, I've made instrumental records before and they essentially go unnoticed.
Yeah.
It's a very small audience that likes that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So why sell the music short? And I'd rather build these out as full songs and put a band together and see if I could make that work first. And then, it's not saying I couldn't make a solo record.
Mhm.
I've done it before. It's a lot more work because you have to solo
Yeah.
for 4 minutes every song,
Pretty much. Right.
which sucks.
What was the last piece of the puzzle that came together? Was it the vocal, the singer, or what was the last piece of the puzzle that
It-
came together
it was-
in Flat Black?
Look at this though. You're gonna love this. See if
Ah.
this works. Right?
Oh, look at that. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah.
Wes Rex, our singer,
Yeah.
he was the last piece of the puzzle, and that took the better part of 2 years.
Yeah, geez.
You
Yeah.
know, to get because it's really hard to get the singer right, and
Mhm.
I worked with I met with a lot of guys.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was just very discouraging, very disappointing.
With that, was it personality? I mean, because I'm guessing you probably heard some fabulous singers, and then you're like, you meet them or whatever, and you're like, oh, this isn't gonna work. You know?
Well, there are so many elements that have to come together to get the right guy.
Mhm.
Um, I met guys that were great singers, but there's no way they could be frontmen.
Mm, right.
I met guys that were great singers that spend their life writing songs in a basement
Uh-huh.
and have families and kids and stuff, and they have zero interest in turning into a touring musician.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's tough. It's really tough. But I thought, doesn't matter how long it takes if you don't get this part of it right, because the singer can be the make or break element. Doesn't matter how great the music is.
Mhm.
If the singer is unlistenable, then
Right. Right.
it's dead.
It's done. Yeah.
It's done. Right? How many times does that happen where you go, great band, hate the singing?
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say is like, you could have also gone the super group direction, pulled together a bunch of the friends and, if the chemistry is not there, that thing tanks right away.
That is true.
In some cases, there
No.
are some great super groups out there.
I've said this before, but the risk of putting together a group that is made of other musicians from big bands
Mhm.
is that there's no guarantee that there's a lot of hard work in the beginning and there's a lot of, compromise and suffering to get something up off the ground.
Mhm.
And if somebody's used to a certain lifestyle, a certain level of success, then how long will they stick with the struggle?
Right.
There's no guarantee that you might put all this work, time, energy, resources into building a band with these guys, and there's no guarantee that they might not go back to their
Right.
big bands, right?
Sure.
So there's a risk there. And you know what? There's plenty of guys out there.
Mhm.
I'd rather give the opportunity to somebody who's young and hungry and excited and willing to do the work,
Right. Right. And you guys are going to be pretty busy throughout the rest of the year, I imagine, huh?
Oh yeah, well, after Friday, so we're 4 days away from the new record dropping.
Mhm. Right.
After the new record's out, there really
July
is
19th.
right.
Yeah.
Been a long wait, but
Yeah.
there's really nothing to do beyond that.
Mhm.
All we need to do is just stay out there and be with the people and play.
Yeah. Fantastic. Last thing, because I'm going to run out of time here in a minute. I know I only asked for 30 minutes, and I thank you for your
You're fine.
time. But
Yeah.
last thing, this is going to be for We Go to 11. And, being that you've been a longtime musician, have played with various different artists and, established your own bands, I'm sure you've had a Spinal Tap esque type moment? Is there one that stands out that you want to share with us as we wrap things up here?
Hmm. Well, there was one time, I mean,
There's probably a lot, right?
probably. I remember one time playing Russia,
Hmm.
and the power grid for the building was like from World War II.
Oh, jeez.
And all of our equipment, didn't matter what we plugged in or how we tried to protect it, everything would blow up.
Mhm.
We went through the main rig, the backup rig, all kinds of rental stuff, and it just blew everything up.
Mhm.
And I just thought, well, this should be interesting. I don't know how we're going to play the show.
Yeah.
But I think I just ended up playing through some kind of digital modeler or something. But it was to me, that was like, even in today's day and age, it was unbelievable to be in the situation where, I mean, I walked outside the building with my guitar tech, and he says, "See all those cables that are stapled to the wall?
Mhm.
That's the power for this entire block."
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, nice.
I
And
know.
you could hear the big, massive transformer going, "Grrr,"
Oh, no.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
You're just lucky you made it out alive of that one, huh?
right. I mean, is that a Spinal Tap moment? I don't know.
I
But,
would say yes.
I split my pants a few times, but fortunately I had underwear on.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So, Dark Side of the Brain out this Friday, which will be the 19th, digitally, and then physical product coming. I personally ordered the CD, so I'll wait. But you know, I got Amazon Music. I can stream the thing, listen to
Yeah.
it in my on my phone and in the car or whatever. And yeah, well, that'll tide me over.
There's an image behind you of
Yeah.
a concert.
Yeah,
Who is
yeah,
it?
yeah. That's Lamb of God from a few
Oh,
years
okay.
ago.
All right.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, and they're rolling through Portland, Oregon in about a month. So I might update it with another Lamb of God. Or who knows, Flat Black. You know, if you
Right,
guys
right.
roll through Portland, I'll snap some photos of that for sure.
I love those guys. They're really,
Yeah.
really nice guys.
Yeah.
And play some pretty sick music.
Thank you so much, man. I hope to
You're
see you guys in Portland, Oregon here in the near future, huh?
Oh, count on it. Yeah, we're going to be everywhere if I have it my way.
Yeah. Well, we'll be there. Thank you
I
so
hope to
much.
see you. Yeah,
Yep,
you got it,
take
man.
care, man.
Bye,
Yep.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.